You're allowed to build. Let's start there. You're allowed to want things. You're allowed to create. You're allowed to improve systems. You're allowed to pursue strength. You're allowed to grow a business. You're allowed to develop skill. You're allowed to make money. You're allowed to shape your life. The mistake isn't building. The mistake is becoming the builder. Season 10 is about participating without becoming. And nowhere does identity sneak back in faster than when you start creating something meaningful. Because building feels powerful. It gives direction. It gives momentum. It gives structure. It gives measurable progress. But it also offers something subtle, a new identity. The entrepreneur, the disciplined one, the creative, the leader, the provider, the visionary. And if you're not paying attention, you'll rebuild ego in the shape of ambition. Not loudly, not arrogantly, quietly, through attachment. There's a difference between building from insecurity and building from participation. Building from insecurity says, when this succeeds, I'll feel solid. When this grows, I'll matter more. When this works, I'll finally relax. That's becoming. Building from participation says, this is what's here to create. This is the next clear step. This is the expression moving through me. That's involvement without identity. You can work hard. You can stay disciplined. You can stay focused. But if your nervous system is tied to the outcome, you're becoming again. Becoming the successful one. Becoming the strong one. Becoming the one who made it. Participation builds. Becoming clings. Let's bring this into real life. You start a project. First, it's clean, feels creative, alive, engaging. Then progress slows. Feedback comes in. Results don't match effort. Suddenly, tension shows up. Not because the project changed, because identity attached. Now it's not just a project. It's you. If it fails, you fail. If it stalls, you stall. If it's criticized, you're criticized. That's when building becomes heavy. Not because of workload, because of attachment. Building without becoming means you give effort fully. You plan intelligently. You adjust when necessary. You stay consistent. But your worth is not fused to the outcome. That sounds simple. It's not. Because most of us learned early that performance equals value. Grades, athletics, career, social approval, productivity, achievement. We internalized the equation, output equals identity. So when output fluctuates, identity shakes. Participation breaks that equation. Output becomes data. Identity stays quiet. Here's the mature stance. You build because it's aligned, not because it proves something. You pursue strength because it's healthy, not because it secures image. You grow income because it supports life, not because it validates you. You create art because it moves through you, not because it guarantees admiration. The difference is internal pressure. When you're becoming, pressure is constant. When you're participating, pressure is situational. Deadlines still exist. Standards still matter, but they don't define you. Let's talk about discipline. Discipline is powerful, but discipline easily becomes identity. I'm the disciplined one. I'm the one who doesn't miss. I'm the consistent one. The moment that identity forms, missing a day feels like collapse. Participation-based discipline says, I train because it's beneficial. I work because it's required. I follow structure because it works. But if you miss, you adjust. You don't spiral. Identity-based discipline spirals. Participation-based discipline recalibrates. There's strength in that flexibility. Now let's look at leadership. If you're building something that involves other people, attachment intensifies. You feel responsible. You feel visible. You feel evaluated. If identity attaches to being the capable one, every mistake feels amplified. You may overwork, over-explain, over-control, because you're protecting image. But building without becoming allows you to lead with steadiness. You make decisions. You communicate clearly. You accept missteps. You refine. You don't collapse under feedback. You don't inflate under praise. You don't disappear under pressure. You stay present. That steadiness builds trust more than perfection ever could. There's also the risk of spiritual bypass here. After seeing through ego, some people avoid ambition entirely. They say, I don't need to build anything. I'm detached. I'm just flowing. But sometimes that's fear disguised as transcendence. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of responsibility. Participation includes creation. You don't retreat from building because identity used to attach. You build differently, cleaner, lighter, steadier. Let's be honest. Success feels good. Progress feels good. Momentum feels good. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem begins when good feelings turn into identity reinforcement. When you start measuring yourself by metrics. When wins inflate you. When losses deflate you. Building without becoming allows enjoyment. You celebrate. You acknowledge progress. But you don't cling. You don't protect. You don't panic when the line dips. Because the line was never you. Here's something important. When you're not becoming the builder, you're more creative. Why? Because fear reduces. When identity is attached, you play safe. You avoid risk. You protect reputation. When identity is light, you experiment. You try. You innovate. You're less afraid to look imperfect. Participation fuels creativity. Identity restricts it. And this applies at home too. Building isn't just business. It's structure, routines, habits, health, environment. You build a stable home. You build emotional safety. You build systems. But if identity attaches, I'm the one who holds everything together. Resentment creeps in. Carrying returns. Building without becoming says, I contribute, not I am the structure. The moment you think you are the structure, pressure multiplies. You can contribute fully without claiming ownership of the entire framework. That's mature participation. Here's the test. Ask yourself, if this project failed tomorrow, who would I be? If your nervous system spikes, identity is involved. If you feel disappointment but stability remains, you're participating. That doesn't mean indifference. It means clarity. Clarity that your life is larger than your current creation. There's something powerful about this stage. When you stop building to become someone, your work becomes cleaner, more honest, less performative, more sustainable. You don't chase constant expansion. You don't panic at slow seasons. You don't inflate when things accelerate. You move steadily, strong spine, soft ego, focused action, minimal drama. That's rare, and it's powerful. So here's the challenge this week. Look at one area where you're building something, a habit, a business, a relationship, your body, your finances, and ask, am I building from participation or from becoming? Notice the difference in pressure. Notice the difference in breath. Notice the difference in urgency. Then experiment. Take one action cleanly, not to prove, not to reinforce image, just because it's the next clear step. Then let it land. No overthinking, no identity inflation, no collapse, just steady movement. Season 10 is about re-entering life without armor. You care without carrying. You handle conflict without identity. You build without becoming the builder. You act fully. You stay human. You stay grounded. You stay responsive, not chasing self-creation, not hiding from responsibility, just participating. Next episode, we'll go deeper into something that touches ambition and discipline both, authority without armor. Because leadership without identity is rare and powerful. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who's building something heavy right now. And if you're ready to create without turning it into who you are, stay here. Season 10 continues.